Hey, everybody, you're listening to the Songwriters Across Texas podcast, where we get to know musicians through their stories and we hear some of their music. I'm your host, Carl Anderson, and today we're very lucky to be at Arlen Studios again. And my guest is Sarah Sharp. Sarah Sharp was born into a very large musical family. Her mother, the oldest of 8, and her grandmother both held degrees in classical piano. Growing up, many nights ended in the living room with dozens of family members playing pianos, guitars, and singing 4-part harmonies. It wasn't until she started choir in school that she realized that not everyone could even sing. After focusing on ballet during high school, Sarah returned to her songwriting life and pursued a career in Austin, where she is one of the very few to have a residency at the Elephant Room. Her songs have been used in hundreds of commercials and films, and she was the late, great Slim Richey's lead singer in his final years of the Jitterbug Vipers, including the critically acclaimed 2013 release Phoebe's Dream. Sarah is joined now today by special guest Mitch Watkins. Man, I'm just so thrilled to have you both here, guys. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi.
Glad to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I'd like to start off right away with a song. Can you guys just kick us off?
Sure.
All right.
I'm tired of collecting pizza boxes these days, always seem to cling to. Don't you think that we could both get wasted, turn this lonesome hall into a ballroom like you did when you gave me a spin on the night we met? I think I almost lost my head on words unsaid. Tell me how we picked up all these problems. Lord knows we never had none in the bedroom. Now you look right through me like you never knew me when, as if I've almost lost my head on words unsaid, on word. It's not like I could never live without you, when I already have to every day, even inches away. It's not like I could never live without you, when I have to every day. You're losing your cool while I've been wasting breath, and I think I've almost lost my head on words unsaid, on
It's a one-man applause system, but I do it to a mic so it sounds loud. You guys, if I didn't want to help everybody understand your story a little more, I would just say, please just keep playing. Why are we even talking? That is so gorgeous.
Thank you.
Sarah and Mitch, thanks so much for being here. I want us to get to know Sarah and Mitch both, but we focused on Sarah. Mitch is her guitar player and has been for several years on a weekly gig over at the Elephant Room. And obviously these two belong playing together. And they also have a third guy, Oliver Steck, who's a wonderful, multi-talented, plays a lot of different instruments as part of that band. They play at the Elephant Room every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday.
Yeah, every Tuesday, the early show. But I'll tell you again that later. Let's get into Sarah's life. We told you a little in the intro that she came from a musical family. Want to tell us what that was like?
Well, I have my mom's piano.
You do?
I have her 1929 7-foot Steinway.
Wow.
And I don't know why I'm going to tell you this, but I just sent my sister to a yoga thing I highly recommended for her to heal some nervous system stuff. And she came back to collect her daughter, my niece, who I watched for 4 days, and my daughter was playing my mother's piano, and my sister asked me to get under the piano with her like we did when we were little.
Oh.
And we sat there and held hands and
gosh.
cried while my daughter played my mother's piano. We used to just like live under that thing because she would play for 4 hours a day, 6 hours a day.
Oh, wow. I got like chills ripping up my back listening to that. It's just so sweet. And that to get to now have your own,
My children learning and playing. And because I didn't learn. I don't play piano.
That's right. It always surprises me with you because I picture you behind a piano or something, and I'm like, what do you mean you don't play an instrument?
My mom was really old school, like, look, I'm not driving your ass all over Houston. Pick one thing.
Right.
And so I went with ballet, and I never learned an instrument. And then
The ballet, though, helped the music, didn't it?
oh, for sure, that was a big part of my childhood until the part where I was like, okay, call it. Like, I'm not going to be a ballet dancer.
Right.
And then I was starting to sort of stand out in high school choir. And so that became I want to be a singer. And so I still ended up with music, but never learned an instrument.
But you didn't need to. The singing was enough, obviously. So how do you get from high school choir to the Elephant Room with Mitch Watkins is the main question.
Oh, my gosh. Well, straight out I went to music school for college.
Yeah.
And
Where was that?
And Boston. I went to Berklee College of Music.
Oh, yeah, that one.
And I did that in 3 years because I was on this, like, tight, my dad would pay what it cost to go to UT budget. And so I placed out of things, and I worked in a restaurant, and I was a resident assistant, and I still did it on a UT budget, but I finished in 6 semesters.
You got very creative, just like you do now. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But that informed you with your house stuff later.
So I was 21, and I moved to London.
Cool.
And that's the first place I ever did a gig, sang publicly. I was a late bloomer. Like, I hadn't written a song yet. I wrote my first song my last semester of school. And
why'd you go to London?
It had a lot to do with a teacher I had, and my aunt was teaching at Oxford, and so my dad's sister was sort of a safety net, even though it wasn't London, it was the same country.
Right.
And I started with just thinking I would go visit her for 6 weeks. And then after I had bought the one-way flight, which back then you were allowed to buy.
That's right.
That's
right. I remember that for sure.
I ended up, because of a teacher I had who I took songwriting my last semester at Berklee. And he asked me to come into his office hour, Jimmy Kachulis.
Shout out to
I
Jimmy.
wish I could find him. I don't know how to find him.
Not even on Facebook?
No, he's not any of those places.
All right.
And he's like, come talk to me at my office hour. And I thought I was in, like, trouble or something. And he asked me to consider switching my major to songwriting.
Wow.
And I was like, I got 9 hours left. This is my last semester. I've already walked. Like, I'm done. And so he was like, tell me your plan. I want to know your plan. How are you going to develop your craft? Well, I don't know. I mean, the minute I step out of here, I'm on my own, and I'm probably going to Houston to sell insurance like a lot of my family members and hope to find a band.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mentioned, oh, I do get to go visit my aunt. I've never been to Europe. She said I can stay as long as I want, but I have to hurry back and to Houston and start supporting myself.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, each week I would change my plan. You know, each week I would just come check in. I'm like, I'm going to go, you know, I had a lot of different plans each week. And then the part about Europe, he finally, instead of just listening and asking questions, was like, it was a summer. He was like, where do you think all your teachers are right now? They're playing festivals in Europe. They're being paid to play music. Not here, there. And he was like, today our government is voting on whether to completely get rid of the National Endowment for the Arts or slowly get rid of the National Endowment.
Right.
He's like,
what a great voice, though, to come in and go, hey.
He's like, you sing blues, you're blonde, you're getting out of school without any debt, you have a safety net in Europe, and you're in a hurry to get back to Houston and sell insurance?
Exactly.
He's like, go.
You seem like an artist.
Yeah. So then I called my dad. I'm moving to London that night.
Okay, so you do, and you get but you have a landing spot.
I had a safety net. I mean, yeah.
But so how did once you got there, how did you get into the thing and to get onto the stage?
Oh my gosh, so my last or second to last semester at Berkeley, I learned what blues was, like 12-bar blues, like the 1, the 4, the 4, the 5, the 4, like, and I mean, I didn't grow up in it. I wasn't that kind of singer, but then I started to notice songs I enjoyed and felt connected to that were actually 12-bar blues, like some early Bonnie Raitt and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so when I got to London, I started going to the blues jams, and I used to go to the Ain't Nothing But the Blues bar in Soho every Monday night.
Ooh,
and
cool.
you just sign your name up and your instrument, and they throw you on stage with a singer, a drummer, a bass player, a guitar player.
Oh, okay.
And
is it really crowded too?
It's tiny. I mean, it's tiny. It's a postage stamp of a bar.
Wow.
And so that became my Monday night thing, and I made friends, and I, it was a way to sing because I had written one song and it was terrible, and.
I might as well go sell insurance.
And so I ended up marrying one of the guys that was always going to the Monday night.
Okay.
Which I really did fall in love and marry an Englishman and elope.
Oh.
Back then.
Very
we
romantic.
had a very successful 20-year marriage.
Great. Yeah, I mean, they don't. Almost none of them make it to full length anymore. So 20 years is a pretty good haul.
We had a really good run.
That's great.
And 3 children.
And you played together too.
We used to play together. Right. Yeah. So going from only these songs are straight 12-bar blues where you can show up with strangers and say this one's in E.
Right.
Yes. To Andy, my ex, would learn there's this Billie Holiday song and it's pretty much 12-bar blues, but there's one part where it does this other thing, and we would start to get paired together, and he would just kind of signal to the other players that got thrown up on the stage for our 2 or 3 songs
to do the other thing.
And so then we started to work out more and more songs and ended up in a band together, and I was.
Did you gig over there for a long time?
Well, I was there for a little more than a year and a half, and
it's pretty
and
good, especially at that age. That's a pretty long time.
Yeah, and I was cash in hand.
Yeah.
I was figuring it out as I went.
Well, you had a good mind for that stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Really good. So cool. So you playing and then after a year and a half, it's. To where?
Well, we eloped because of immigration things.
Mm-hmm.
I had to leave every 6 months to renew my visa.
Yeah,
and one time I came back in from where's the cheapest flight out of England this weekend? I went to Spain by myself for a weekend. Mm-hmm. And on the way back in, that was when Andy and I went to France and got separated at the immigration, and they detained me. And this was before 9/11, and I just, Oscar-winning put on this story of being a rich girl. Like, I'm just here because my aunt teaches at Oxford, and we've been in her flat in the Alps, and because she did have a flat in the Alps.
Right.
And, you know,
Yeah.
they're like, well, why do you have a British bank account? And I was like, so my dad can put money in it. And, and I'm actually a terrible liar all of my life. I'm instant karma, cannot lie.
I'm like
but
that.
in that situation, I was like, maybe I could have been an actor, because I became that story.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Yeah, but I'm an actor, and actually the job of an actor is to tell the truth, even when you lie.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I always tell the truth, even when I lie. But that you did fall into what was an acting performance. You assumed a character, and you had to sell it to the guy, but it wasn't a stretch. Because you had some
details. I had some details I could use. I had a rich aunt.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So I got back in by the hair of my chinny chin chin and was like, well, we're not getting away with that again. And so we just eloped.
And okay, so now you're married, and now you're not getting separated anymore. Did you stay in London for longer?
As soon as we eloped, I was like, let's start the process for you to be allowed to live.
Yeah.
In Texas. It was cold. I'm not good at being cold.
All right, so you guys, you do get back to, you bring them here.
Right away. Yeah,
and to Austin, or to Houston.
Yeah, so I was 22 when I moved back to Austin. Mm-hmm. Is that right? 23.
Sounds right.
I mean, like, you're early
20s.
Early on,
right.
23, yeah.
But you had the music going, so did you fall in with the Elephant Room right around there?
No, we
Not
used
yet.
to play at, I used to play every Friday night at the Ritz upstairs on 6th Street, my jazz thing.
Okay.
And then I was trying to play my own songs, and they were really terrible songs. And I played with Andy. My ex was not a jazz player, so it was kind of two things. We'd play my songs at Babes and Room 710.
Yeah.
And the Speakeasy. We used to play the Speakeasy once a week for a good long stretch
Easy
there.
was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also had the jazz thing, but it confused people because I was far more accomplished as a jazz singer in my early 20s than I was as a songwriter.
Right.
But I was determined to be a songwriter.
Sure.
So I went for a long stretch where I only played my own songs and didn't play jazz again after the Ritz closed.
Okay.
Until I started singing with Slim Richey.
Wow.
Yeah, like a huge stretch without singing any jazz.
Because that was until 2013, maybe?
It was right
Or
when my
12?
daughter my second child was 6 weeks old when I left her for a couple hours to go do my first gig with Slim, and she's 13. So
okay. Slim. I want to talk about that, but we're not. I don't think we're quite there. Mm-hmm. So what I actually want to do is play another song.
Okay. Well,
you guys ready to play another song?
This is a song that Mitch and I wrote together.
Great. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. What's it called? Oh, what was the first song called, by the way?
The first song is called Onward, and I wrote it with Chris Wade.
Yeah, tell me about that real quick.
So I write a lot, and I co-write a lot, and I don't play an instrument.
Right.
So, I brought this song to Mitch when I woke up and caught it, and then he put the chords in them. And I have enough of an understanding and a degree in music to put chords if I need to, but I would rather be paired with somebody amazing, to make those decisions.
Absolutely.
And Chris is the only person with whom I've written who actually has brought me some lyrics and melodies that I changed.
Really?
It's usually I'm all the lyrics and the melodies.
Right.
And so that Pizza Boxes song was something that didn't work out for him with some lass in Ireland when he was on tour. and I turned it into something that felt like mine.
It's a great image, the pizza box.
Yeah. It's his line, that first line. Yeah. And I was like, and then okay, I worked it out.
All right. Cool. All right, well, let's go round two. You wrote this together with Mitch.
Yeah, it's called Flow.
Flow. Great. You're on.
It took me into crushed up ground. forth or let it turn me around, until I learned how to lose control. My heart was someone I did not know. Undertow. And yet I almost refused the call, out of some sort of loyalty, of use or no use at all, on the line for reality to flow as before. I have loved from way up on the mountain, where the creeks and the streams, the paths of waters flow. Now I'm bound to the rhythm of the water. Let it take me, let it flow. We were taught to stand up small, not much room for humility. Never a chance to know the simple beauty of family. To belong. I have loved from way above the mountain, with an eagle's view of currents down below. Now I bow to the order of the water. Let it take me, let it flow. I have loved from way above the mountain, with an eagle's view of currents down below. Now I'm bound to the order of the water. Let it take me swiftly, let it take me humbly, let it take me, let it flow.
Man, that's so gorgeous. That guitar and that voice is stupidly good.
I brought this song to Mitch, and he was like, "You realize that like this measure only has 2 beats, and that one has 3 beats, and the rest of them have 4 beats, and like, do you realize like this?" I'm like, "That's how it came out." Like, that's the beauty of not playing an instrument.
Right.
But I didn't even know that. That's I have a good sense of time and rhythm, but I don't overthink those things.
No, that's for him. That's for him to do, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that was gorgeous, and I want to get to Mitch and you, but I want to start with Slim Richey because I think that leads to how you guys got. So let's talk.
Actually, it does.
Yeah.
There's a story there.
Yeah, let's.
Okay.
This is really cool
Okay.
because not everybody certainly knows who Slim Richey is, and I know you're going to fill them in with good detail. I mean, this guy was a pioneer.
Yeah, so Slim had a very distinct style of guitar playing. He was like one of the founders at Kerrville Folk Festival.
Yes.
I mean, he was like grandfathered in. I think he went to the second year and every year after that. And there are so many musicians probably who also are on your show, like Kelsey from Wild Child and like the Kerrville,
right?
Growing up around the campfire and picking, but at the same time he was a jazz player. But he had this sort of branch of, I would say, of guitar playing that under which I could name certain younger Austin musicians that are on that branch of the guitar tree.
Right.
It's kind of Django-y.
It is quite Django-y and a bit of Western swing as well.
Mm-hmm.
They made a record called Jazzgrass in the 70s. You can find it. It was the first time that somebody put, that they know of, that somebody put blues and bluegrass and jazz together.
That's right. The very first time. Jazzgrass.
He could do a lot of super busy stuff, but he would really play jazz. And at the same time, he was irreverent and had Mardi Gras beads hanging off his guitar. And they would say he was the most dangerous guitar player in Texas and banned in certain counties.
Really?
In
certain counties?
Certain places
not just like you're banned from you're not allowed in this county, dude.
Certain places like Sun City, he was banned for playing explicit notes.
What?
It was one of those
did I hear that right?
Yeah. Explicit notes.
That the music made people feel uptight?
I mean, it was part of the legend and the folklore and I don't know where it all came from, but that was part of
like with Stravinsky when he put out The Rite of Spring and people were like, no, this is, you made us feel something we never felt before. Yeah. It's uncomfortable.
He was outlaw in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's great. So you got to be with him in the
and he couldn't say no to a gig.
So
we played over 200 shows a year for the last 7.5 years of his life.
That is great that you got to just record the one record.
Well, we have an earlier record I forgot about that is not on Spotify or anything, but we did it with Rob Halverson at the Treehouse.
Oh, cool.
Probably in
I know Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've been playing it in the Elephant Room on our breaks, and I'm like, we made that record. I forgot it existed.
So,
I think maybe we should put it out.
It's not out there. Oh, so you?
I don't even know where the masters are, but
Can you put it out?
But there is one song on that record called Viper Moon that Slim and I wrote together, and we put it again, the same recording, on the Phoebe Stream record, because that was the thing where somehow we started to write originals, or I was like, we should write some Viper tunes.
Right. Yes, this is the concept that I love. So the Viper, tell everyone what the Viper music actually is for jazz.
When I joined Slim's band, he was playing with Kat Edmondson. They played regularly at Lambert's, and then Kat was starting to really have her own thing going, and Katie Holmes was now Katie Shore was singing lead for Jitterbug Vipers, and before that it was Emily Gimble, and there was a long line of singers, and I took that place, and so I had to learn I knew a lot of jazz, if we needed to do a 4-hour wedding gig, I could sing all the jazz standards and not need to reference any lyrics, but I had to learn all these Viper tunes, and I didn't know any of it, and it was the 30s, 40s drug culture. And even some songs that I did know that I didn't realize were all the lingo and the references, like Straighten Up and Fly Right is about heroin. It's about having a monkey on your back.
Right.
And then,
But the Vipers were lit. It says people who were Vipers were doing pot and opium.
It's like a snake hissing. So that's partly the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't put two and two together on that one.
Yeah. So when we would play, Lambert's on Wednesdays and Continental Club once a week and all the different Seaboys and everything, there was this common denominator of weed.
Right.
Weed and swing dancers that was ageless as far as who was interested in being there and the music. And then all these young people who had grown up at Kerrville learning, picking at the camp with him and are now monster players.
Right.
And Yeah.
It's so wonderful for such a to be able to be that guy's sort of last front,
He
singer.
tried so hard to die on stage. He really did. His last gig was like 6 weeks before he passed, and 2 men had to get him on to the stage.
Okay.
He really, really wanted to die on stage.
Man, I get it. I mean, why not go out with your boots on, right on. So, and when you got to do that, when he passed away, Paramount puts the thing up.
It said
R.I.P. Slim.
It said, "Rest in peace, most dangerous guitar player in Texas."
Right. Well done, Austin, on that one. But so after that, you're probably like, well, now what do I do? And then, oh, hey, Mitch Watkins. Was it like that?
Well, so when I came to Austin, I was aware of this Abermore record, the one that has 4-leaf clover on it.
Yeah.
And Mitch had produced it.
Yeah.
And so I wrote him a letter, and I think it was a tape or a CD, but it might have been a CD, like a demo. Right.
Yeah. Just
right when I got to back to Austin, and I mean, I'm thinking it's like 2000, 2001. I was like, at some point, I'm really, when my songs get better, I really want to make a record, and you're somebody that I think about a lot as a producer. So I like really put myself out there. Mm-hmm. And he called my landline.
My landline.
It was like, keep in touch, like super nice.
Right.
Super nice about it.
That was way back in 2001, you said.
Yeah.
And then when Slim was dying of cancer,
right.
Sometimes he could play the gig, sometimes he couldn't. It was like chemo, and
right.
He would the last few months of his life, we wouldn't find someone to sub for him until right before the gig, because we didn't. If he could play, we wanted him to play.
Right, and if he was going to die on stage, he was going to die on stage.
And so we had a certain, whether it was Connor Forsyth on keys or Greg Harkins on guitar or different people we could ask.
Right.
And I mean, this was one of these C-Boys shows where I could not find anybody to play, and I got the nerve up to ask Mitch to come do this 2-hour happy hour gig at C-Boys, where I was like, you're probably going to make $17. Like,
maybe.
And, we don't rehearse anyway, but we've got charts, and Masumi, our drummer, and Mitch
Jones,
is Masumi
right?
Jones.
Yeah.
She's a woman from Japan who's one of my best friends, and still our drummer.
Great.
At Elephant Room.
Masumi, yeah.
And then Slim's wife, Francie, was the bass player.
Oh, cool.
So I'm like, we got charts. We'll get through it. Like, if you'll just show up, we know you can handle it.
Right.
And so we had never played together. The night before, we played at Elephant Room, and Mojo, Francie is also called Mojo, didn't carry her own bass. She had some things with her hips and stuff, and so we would help with her upright bass.
Gotcha.
Up and down the stairs. Mm-hmm. And she was so, I think, distracted because of what was happening with Slim. We finished our gig, and she drove away. She forgot to get her bass. And we're standing there on the street, and she just wasn't there.
Wow.
And so we had a sub drummer that night. It wasn't Masumi. It was Chris Trafton. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm like, I can't fit this bass in my car. And he said, if they will keep the bass here, I will come early. I will bring her bass to C-Boys tomorrow. So we get to C-Boys, and it's packed. You can't even move. We have no idea what's going on. And there was somebody we'd never heard of named Leon Bridges who was going to play after us.
Oh, yeah.
That
guy.
It was like you couldn't move.
Right.
And Chris is always late, and we're dealing with him. Like, Chris, I said the night before, the day you admit to yourself how long it takes to get here from Round Rock, you're going to need to add another 15 minutes. And he was always
That's really
late,
good
and he was 17 minutes late every time. So he shows up late to C-Boys, and I'm like, where's the bass? And he goes, there's a kit here. I'm like, not the kick drum. Where's the bass? He forgot. He didn't go to Elephant Room. So then he goes, we're very late. We start playing like jazz standards, just the two of us. We've never played together, and we're in front of Leon Bridges' entire crowd. And Chris, the room at the Elephant Room in the back was locked, and the guy who had the key wasn't going to get there till like 7 o'clock. And so he came back, and we kept going with no bass. And I finally, like, I was making eye contact with people I know, like, we need a bass.
Right.
And it's
Hey,
like, so we can do our actual thing we do.
what? You need a drink?
know?
No, give me a bass.
And who I don't remember who it was, God bless their soul, who was Leon Bridges' bass player that night, electric bass, let Mojo borrow it. She's like, I played one once at a party. And she sat on the amp, and like by the second set, we figured it out. We kind of did okay. But I kept looking at Mitch going, I'm so sorry. And he was like, you're really, what did you say? You're like, cards are really stacked against you here. It was one thing after another. Grace
Right.
under pressure, grace under pressure, grace under pressure, you know. And the next day when I called Mitch, I'm like, don't hate me. I am so sorry. It was chaos, total chaos.
Did you make her feel bad, Mitch?
I thought, wow, she's got a big crowd. Must be something going on here.
That's hilarious. Actually, so I'm going to slide it over to Mitch for a second,
Okay.
right? So because you get the Jitterbug are done because Slim's gone, but you were with Leonard Cohen touring with him, and it's too. I read a story that I want to get to about that where you had to play the bass one night on tour. So Leonard Cohen tour, right, Mitch? Make sure I'm getting this right, or you should just probably hop in. Please tell everybody.
Well, we were playing in Louisville.
He was in the band,
and
right?
I was in the
Leonard
band.
Cohen's
I was fortunate enough to be in Leonard's touring band for his last tour ever.
Right.
Before he passed, and we were playing in Louisville in
First time he'd
2013.
ever played
First
there.
time we'd ever played in Louisville. First time he had ever played in Louisville.
Right.
And Roscoe Beck, the MD, got deathly ill, and he collapsed and was just projectile hurling about an hour before showtime. And he said to me, I can't do it, and they took him off to the hospital.
Right.
And so we had a conference with Leonard, and okay, well, what's going to happen now? We had a couple of options. Neil Larson, the great keyboardist, thought maybe he could play keyboard bass with his left hand, like
Right.
a B3
Right.
player,
Right.
Because he had a B3 on stage. Or the other solution was to have me play one of Roscoe's basses for the show. And I had played some bass in in the 80s. I was working a lot on the bass, but I'd never played these songs of Leonard's on the bass. I'd played them, plenty of times on guitar, but never really considered what needed to be done to hold
Right.
down the bass chair of that. So it was a.
So how did you figure it out in such a short amount of time?
The funny thing I did was I did not pick up the bass. I mean,
Okay.
I didn't play through anything. I sat and visualized me playing through the songs, and
Nice.
I just visualized what it was going to feel like to play through the songs. And then they gave me one of Roscoe's basses about 5 minutes before. There was maybe a 5-minute run through of a couple of trouble spots that we knew we were going to have with the guys in the band backstage.
Right.
And then off we went.
How did you know how to do I'm just going to visualize this. I mean, that's like a meditative trick.
It was. I wasn't going to be able to sit down and run my fingers
Right.
and practice the stuff because there was no time. I mean, it was like, okay, bird on a wire. And I was just, really thinking about it and thinking about the form of the song and what I was going to try to do. And a couple tunes, technically, I couldn't do some of the stuff Roscoe was doing.
Oh, right,
You
right.
know, Roscoe Beck,
Yeah.
So I figured, okay, on that song, like First We Take Manhattan or something like that, I'm going to have to do it this way because I can't do it that way. And that was just a decision I made in my head,
Sure.
How'd it go?
And we hit the stage, and the crowd nobody knew. I mean, Leonard did announce to the crowd ahead of time, but they went away happy. You know,
That must have been what a feeling.
It was amazing. Leonard was profusely thanking me after the show, which of course made me feel terrific. But fortunately, it was only one gig.
Fortunately,
You know.
exactly.
And we didn't have to do that again.
Well, but it's such an incredible story, and I think that like you said, no one in the audience probably was like, "Man, that Mitch Watt," like it's not that. It's I like that. Part of what I like about this show is that I can go, yeah, this. You guys, you thought all that was cool. This, you try doing that.
Well, really, what the audience saw is the song still came alive. As
Yes.
you might imagine, with Leonard's material.
Of
It
course.
was awesome.
Well, and you knew
of
knew
course,
how to play the
Leonard,
bass. Anyway.
Leonard was, a great front man, and
Yeah.
people went away happy.
That's so cool. So how after you finished that gig, is that when you guys got together
Pretty
and
much.
started doing the Elephant Room
I mean,
stuff?
not long after.
Not long after.
After Slim passed in 2015.
Yeah.
I asked if you wanted to do some
That
shows.
T-Boys thing was, I guess that was maybe a year or so after I'd
Yeah.
been off the road.
Okay.
Because that tour ended December 21st, 2013 in Auckland, New Zealand.
Auckland.
And so Sarah called maybe a year later.
Okay.
And I was like, I remember her. I think that might be fun.
We had an adventure at Sea Boys. Let's check it. Let's go. Sarah, you were like, oh boy, here I'm finally. When you got back around to Mitch, getting him there, were you okay? Now we get to finally do this. What was the thinking behind it?
I don't know. I mean, I miss being part of a thing instead of playing as Sarah Sharp. Like I really, really miss being part.
The Jitterbug
of something.
Vipers is
It wasn't all about me, but I also am so spoiled with the musicians with whom I've gotten to play, and so Slim was really irreverent and wild and crazy, and but he was a grown ass man, and so it's hard to go from that to, and so Mitch is also a grown-ass man in the way he plays guitar.
I was going to say, you went from one grown-ass man to another.
Man, but, all the things you don't play and all the, maturity
Taste.
and the being there for the music and a lot less ego and just the seasoned years of experience. And it's just, to me, it's so authentic and I mean, a couple weeks ago, we were finishing something at Elephant Room, and I don't remember exactly what you said, Mitch, but it was basically like, I almost always feel better leaving here from this gig than I did when I got here.
Oh, that's 99% of the time.
Yeah.
I always do. And I always make Sarah sing a ballad, a jazz ballad.
Okay.
Because nobody sings a jazz ballad better than Sarah.
No.
He said that on the air, so I can quote that.
Everybody heard that. That's
No,
right. That
she-
can now be on the bio.
She can sell it.
I agree wholeheartedly, and you guys together are so wonderful. We're toward the end here, but I thought maybe we real quick cover we brought it up earlier that you've had to figure out financially how to sort of take care of yourself along the way, and when you got here, you started to do it with property and doing the B&B thing. So
We're all holding on for dear life to try to remain in this community.
Exactly.
Especially as it changes. And I think even like the year that we put out that Jitterbug Vipers record that did really well.
Yeah.
We won a whole bunch of Austin Music Awards, and the awards were probably like 2014. And I was looking around the holding cell where all the winners, and they would like tell you when it's your time to go out. And I knew most of the people in there, and I was looking around going, well, they live in Cedar Park, they live in Driftwood, they live in Dripping Springs, they live in Lakeway. I was one of the only people in the room who actually lived in
Austin proper.
Austin, and that was when you could still like park for free at night downtown. Like,
Yeah, you
know,
could. So that just about then it started
right
changing.
around then.
Yeah.
And so after the pandemic, the Elephant Room gave us a little bitty raise for the first time since they opened.
Wow.
I mean, it's all based on tips.
Yeah.
You know, if people don't put their money in the direction of the music, the venue can't afford to pay us a living wage.
Right.
They have the same problem as us.
Exactly.
Property taxes.
Exactly.
And so
huge rents.
Huge rents.
Huge. I know it's ridiculous.
And
but you gotta. They need help. There needs to be something built in for a room like that, where it's like, look, you guys just, write that off and
and
keep
God
charging
bless
them.
like Gary Keller, who has saved so many.
Yes, Gary. Thank you.
I don't know him,
Seriously.
but I wish I did. I think he's
I don't know him either. I know people who do, and I literally want to look right in the camera and say thank you to Gary Keller for keeping some places alive.
And Will Bridges, who's one of the owners of this studio. I mean, he's with Antones with.
I'm not even aware of that. He came in and swooped in and helped with them too.
And a lot of Austin, it's not all music venues, but the places he has saved, and that he and his wife preserve and do everything they can to.
It's so important.
Keep Austin.
Exactly.
And so I got a divorce, and I split from my ex in 2017, and I have always lived in East Austin. I bought my first house in East Austin in 2000, and it
for like $55
for $111,000.
Just a little more.
And so my second house is the one I bought 10 years ago, and I mean, I bought it when they were tearing down the power plant,
right?
And the whole house would shake from steel beams coming crashing down, and it was like earthquake level of that's how close we were to them tearing down the power plant on the east side. And the property taxes, it's a thing for everyone, and I don't like to sit around and bitch, and I really don't find it very classy to talk about money, but
I agree.
It's a real thing. Like, my property taxes double every 7 years no matter what, because the homestead exemption, it's 10%. It's now more than the entire original mortgage with the property taxes, just the taxes.
Right.
And it's, so I, for 4.5 years, have moved out of my own house, and I rent it on Airbnb. I've moved out over 100 nights a year.
This mesmerizes
me. Of
me.
my own house. And I have 3 children, and half the time they have to find somewhere to go with me.
Right.
In order for us to stay in Austin,
that's
stay
just
near their
intense.
schools.
That's the important
okay,
part.
I could cash in. Yay. I'm smart. I'm really smart with real estate.
Right.
But so I could cash in and go. It's like the venues that become our creative little districts. They create it and then they get pushed out.
Yeah.
And so at some point, I'm doing everything in my power not to get pushed out, because I freaking love Austin. I love my life here. I love my community. But it's like that. It's kind of like being on tour, constantly living out of your car, and you lose an earring and you can't find, I am constant. I'm like that vagabond existence, even though I don't have nearly that many shows to.
No, it's tiring, and especially if you're bringing your kids around.
They don't have to do it as much as I do, and I try to make it as minimal for them as possible.
But still, you're not 21. It's like
and they don't.
Come on.
They're all the hormones. If we end up in a motel or a hotel, 2 of them are on the floor, or I am. Like, nobody wants to be in the same bed.
Right.
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 It's a whole thing that we do to stay in this community.
Well, it's thank you for doing it. Honestly, I'm not kidding. Like, and your story's a movie, dude. I want to thank you too, Mitch, for being here.
My pleasure.
We're running out here, but I'm so pleased that I got to capture you both here today in Arlen Studios.
I feel super like one of the cool kids that I got included in this series that y'all are doing. Thank you so much.
You are the cool kid.
I'm honored. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. So Are we gonna? Do I get my wish for this last song?
Well,
Yes. All right, we got the last song. Was
One that
my
you chose.
dealer's choice over here.
This is from the Jitterbug Vipers record. I wrote it with Jacob Jager.
Oh yeah,
You know him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that. That's right.
And when we wrote it, he was like, "Well, you're gonna have to sing it, or I'll never get laid again."
Yeah, you had a point. And you're like, it's not gonna affect me.
Not my problem. Yeah. It was just another weekend flirting and drinking. Something about you caught my eye, and I don't recall exactly how we ended up one night. I guess we had some fun, not hurting anyone. I'm sure that I will see you around, but if you're thinking it's a start of something I'll be part of, baby, let me lay it down. That was just the sauce talking. Lord knows what was whispered in your ear. When you get the sauce talking, it will tell you what you wanna hear. I met you on a Sunday, here we are on a Monday, in the harsh light of day. Right now I'm wondering when you're gonna go away. You're hanging around, my head is pounding, I'm wishing I was dead. And I think you mighty kindly, but no need to remind me of all those things I said. That was just the sauce talking. Lord knows what I whispered in your ear. When you get the sauce talking, it will tell you what you wanna hear. That was just the sauce talking. Lord knows what I whispered in your ear. When you gonna start walking, honey? Tell me why you're still here. That was just the sauce talking. Lord knows what I whispered in your ear. When you get the sauce talking, it will tell you what you wanna hear.
Oh man, thank you so much. I love that song, and it was beautiful.
Thank you for requesting it.
Thank you so much again for coming. Hey, everybody, if you watch this on the CW and you want to see more, there's a longer version on our YouTube channel, Songwriters Across Texas. Easy enough. There's also some fun other things there if you like. Check these guys out at the Elephant Room, 6 p.m. on Tuesdays. Thanks a lot, and thanks again for being here, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.